Hey everyone, and welcome to Sketch It Out Thursday, our brand new name in place of our Twerk It Thursday. Apparently it confused some people and made some people a little annoyed, so we decided to just give it a more appropriate name. Now today I am going to be using this sketch from Page Maps along with Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life. We are both working with that, and I am using this week's inspiration piece with Amy Tan stitched, a little bit of Rise and Shine and a little bit of +1. And I'm sticking to those grays and blacks and a little bit of teal and aqua added to it just for some pops of color. Now, I happened to grab this piece. This is an older piece of +1, and I am going to use it. And it's actually, I just grabbed it for that back side, which have those gray paper with the lighter gray hatch marks, and I actually didn't even know it was Amy Tan until I looked at the branding strip, so I thought that was kind of funny. Now, I grabbed this striped piece from Rise and Shine, and that's the newest Amy Tan before Finders Keepers. And what I'm doing now is I'm taking a look at the sketch, and I'm seeing what I have in my stash that I can use to replicate the sketch. So I grabbed the striped paper because I thought I could use that as the band across underneath the photos. And then I grabbed that sticker thing from Bella Boulevard, because there's a large scallop at the bottom of the banded photos. Now, one of the pieces on the top was a wood grain piece of pattern paper. I didn't happen to have a wood grain in a gray, but in looking at it, to me, it kind of looked like stripes almost. So what I did was I grabbed all of the black and white and gray pieces of paper from the Amy Tan Stitch collection, and I cut them into 1 1/4 inch stripes. And I'm going to use that in place of what would be the wood grain piece of paper. I really like the way this turned out. I thought it turned out quite cute. Now, I've got these 2 photos of my niece when she was a baby. So this was about probably closer to 14 years ago. And I really like the way it pops against her gray sweatshirt and all the gray in the photos. So I used my Stampin' Up! Scallop border punch to cut a very thin border. Because that was a branding strip, there wasn't a lot of room on it, so I just did what I did with what I had. And what I'm doing now is, if you notice in the sketch, there's a large focal piece that is made up of both the title and the journaling, and so what I'm looking for is something to take that, so I will be able to cut that piece of paper to stretch it all the way across the 12 by 12, the striped piece that holds the photos. So I look through my die cuts to see if I have any large die cuts, and I don't really have anything that's going to work. So then I cut out that sweet cut apart, and I thought that might work, but it didn't. Where the sweet was written didn't work real well. So I went into my stash and I found this older crepe paper frame, and it's really cute because it's got the aqua on it, and it is more of a cream base when there's a lot of white on here, but it's dark enough, and I've mentioned before in my personal videos, it's not something that bothers me. I know it's going to bother some people, but it doesn't really bother me. And the way this one is shaped, it's kind of perfect for in the opening for my journaling to go, and then on the frame itself for my title to go. So I'm very happy with that. And I'm trying to see whether I want to use this gradient piece of gray or the grid gray. I don't know if you can see if there's a grid or not. I don't know if you can see the grid, but there is a grid on that paper. And I decided pretty quickly that the gradient is the way to go. Oh, sorry, folks. And so I just draw some really quick lines on in my little frame, and I'm just talking about how my niece, when she was a baby and she wanted to go outside, she just kind of like make motioning noises towards the door, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful fall day in New England, and so her mom brought her out, and she was just being very cute and so happy with the weather and everything. So it's a very simple story. These just happen to be a couple of my absolute favorite photos of her when she was a baby. She's a very cute baby, of course. So I'm trying to line this up, and it takes a bit longer than, should be allowed for lining up paper. So I do end up cutting a bit of this out. So now what you're seeing me do is attaching that very thin border strip at the top. And I'm very happy with the way this is looking. So what I'm going to do now is place down all my strips of paper and just try to get it laid out so like there aren't two black pieces of paper next to each other and there aren't two exact same shades of gray next to each other. And I cut one more than needed, but I realized, well, I cut two more than I thought I needed, but then I realized I needed to add an extra strip. So I'm going to spread them out a little bit to get one more strip of paper in there. And I'm like, does that look better? No. Because you can't possibly just make a decision. You have to double check with a second choice. So I'm liking the way this looks, and so I'm going to get all the papers off and then just run a couple lines of glue down the top and just get those done. Now, when I did this, it was a little off-center. I didn't go back and fix it. To me, it wasn't off-center enough for me to, redo it. I really like the way this layout turned out. I thought, and it's so funny because I like the sketch. In actuality, I had, picked a bunch of sketches from Pinterest for Christy and I to consider, and then she chose the final one. So obviously I had chosen this one, but when I looked at it, I was like, oh, I don't even know if I have like paper that can really reflect this layout. And so I was happy with myself for thinking a little outside the box for this. So I go ahead and get this border sticker from the Bella Boulevard. I believe this is the Molly line. And then I realized, oh wait, you need to grab the other pattern paper first. So I went ahead and got that down. And this took me an abnormal amount of time to get that down because of the split behind the frame. So I did cut a bunch of that out. Now, I had made some flare from several different pieces of paper in the stitch line back when I was at a crop and someone brought a flare making machine. And so I am going to use a couple of those on this. I'm going to use that smile sticker from the Bella Boulevard line. What I'm basically looking for are stickers that just have the gray and the aqua, and there just weren't a lot of them on there. Now, I end up using a sticker, this enamel stickers from the Amy Tan Rise and Shine, and the one under the photo says, oh yes, and that actually does have a little bit of pink in it, but other than that sticker, everything else is gray, black, white, or teal. And if you look back at the inspiration piece, those are the colors in the inspiration piece, and it really had a very calm and serene fall feel to it, which is why I wanted to do it. Now I grabbed my Stampin' Up! Border punch again and did that little piece of paper on the bottom to mimic from the sketch, and I grabbed that feather-shaped enamel spot as well. And now I'm just adding some enamel shapes, and this is from a Heidi Swap package that is from Michaels. I don't think it comes necessarily from a particular line. It was just part of her fall release at Michaels. And I'm putting enamel dots in the other two embellishment clusters, but I did use those arrows over on the right-hand side under the photo. Now that paper, I do add another flare, and the flare at the top is the same paper that I used as the border strip down at the bottom. And I thought that brought a nice continuity to the whole page, as I didn't use that paper in any other spot. Now I'm using these Heidi Swap puffy stickers. Oh, see, I thought I was going to get through the whole narration without forgetting a word, but no, puffy stickers got me. Okay, everyone. Now for the rest of the title, I'm going to use these Tim Holtz tiny alphas, and I do end up cutting a whole bunch of this out because the second part of the title is a little bit long. It's called Fall Fun in the Front Yard. because they're just in the front of their house at the time. And the last thing I'm going to do is get some Heidi Swap Color Shine and sprinkle bits of it around the embellishment clusters. And of course, I get some on the photo because I was too lazy to cover it up. So that is going to complete my layout. Thank you guys so much for joining me here. I'm showing you the sketch, and now we've got some close-ups. Have a great day, everyone. Bye!